So, the story begins in a classroom with a few announcements about the upcoming college entrance exam. Have you already given everything you've got in this life? There are only 25 days left until the college entrance exam. The college entrance exam only happens once. Pass it and you'll soar like a dragon. Then we see our protagonist. Did he return to the time before the college entrance exam? Xia Kingdom, Anqing Number 1 High School, Grade 3, Class 7. A student suddenly screams in class, startled. Why the hell is this horror story happening to him? If he were going to be reincarnated, at least it should have happened after he got into college. Since ancient times, humanity on the Blue Star has been plagued by a catastrophe, the invasion of the secret realm. The secret realms are connected to another world, one filled with terrifying monsters. From time to time, they exploit cracks between realms to invade the human world. A powerful monster can destroy several nations and threaten all of human civilization. To fight against this threat, humanity developed a beast gene system. By injecting beast genes to awaken a monster model and unlock genetic talents, only these warriors are capable of saving human civilization. This caused warriors to enjoy a much higher status and treatment than ordinary people. Warriors came to be held in far greater esteem than the average person. The entire Blue Star entered an era where martial strength is everything. Everything else is secondary, only martial cultivation stands above all. Then the system begins to issue a few notifications. Complete world traversal introduction. Traversing host body, Ehe. Now implanting memories, Ehe, a high school student. Look, that trashy, he is having another nightmare again, haha. That kind of loser still wants to try to get into college? All the students start bullying him. Why doesn't that loser just drop out and go home, live out his life as some damn ordinary worker until he dies? Of course, like every protagonist story, he's a victim of bullying by some bitch. It seems the original owner of this body didn't have a good reputation in the class. Since his parents had an accident in the second year which caused him to lose focus on both training and studies, his grades, once decent, plummeted and dragged down the class average. So that's what happened. What is he looking at? This is martial arts class. Is he trying to pick a fight? What was he even looking at? He was just lost in thought, damn it. He didn't study properly and now he's the one suffering for it. He ended up inheriting this unpopular, humiliating life. How tragic. Then the teacher arrives. Students, are you ready? Today we'll begin injecting the genetic modification serum. Have some confidence in yourselves. These past 3 years of building your body and mind, training every day, it was all for this day. For those who aren't taking this seriously, please do. This could change your life. That should be a joke. It's not like he isn't worried or that he's being careless, but panicking now wouldn't change anything. Ehe. And still, since he's inherited the role of the original guy here, he'll do everything right and clean up the mess he was left with. Anqing Number 1 High School, Gene Injection Hall. What do you think will happen? Do you think he can awaken? Maybe a level 3 mountain splitter or a level 4 sea bridge dragon. He bets it'll be a level 1 butt beast, ha. Then we see a high-tech suitcase filled with several capsules. This is the Gene Awakening Serum. It contains the primordial genes of every magical beast ever recorded by human warriors. After injection, the body will absorb one at random and awaken it. Normally, the stronger your physical body, the stronger the gene you will awaken. Don't be so nervous, students. Once the serum is injected, just stay calm and embrace the emergence of power. Those whose names are called, come up here to receive the serum. Chen Pengfei. Miao Yunhua. Several students start receiving the serum and undergoing mutations. All of them begin acting strangely after the injection. It seems this won't be easy. Whatever, he's curious about the result, so he quickly injects it into his own neck. However, as time passes, nothing happens to his body. It looks like nothing really changed after he injected the serum. Maybe he received a fake dose. Look. He wasn't able to awaken any powers in the end. A warrior who doesn't awaken is like a bird without wings. Isn't he completely doomed now? There's no need for him to become a warrior anymore. He might as well just go home and wait to die. That girl is so annoying, and she's also the one who led the bullying against me, isn't she? However, he starts to feel something in his body. That feeling. Then a system notification appears. Acquired, infinite monster template. Postihi. Overall physique. Martial skills. The 9th student basic chi technique, blocking palm iron body technique. Monster template. Extracted. What the hell is he doing? He didn't awaken, so stop pretending already. Everyone, says the protagonist with a trembling voice. Get out of here right now. Why should we leave? If you don't leave now, it'll be too late. Then he releases his power, We see a massive monster manifestation looking like a Conzilla, a huge blue beast. The girl is thrown far away. What kind of overwhelming power is this? That aura, no one can endure it. Who awakened this kind of power? Why is he throwing up? The students start talking among themselves, while others watch from farther away. So there really is someone stronger than him who just awakened. A-rank template, Mad Flame, Demola. Bloodline abilities, Scorching Breath. Advanced form, Flame Lord, Demola. Unlocks when template compatibility reaches 100%. Current compatibility, 3%. An A-rank template. Demola from the Infinite Monster template. Is this the cheat the system gave me? Wait, that sinister aura just now came from that loser? He instinctively used his aura to blast everyone nearby. Even Wang Xing was knocked out. She had awakened a second-level magical beast, the Flaming Claw Scorpion. What kind of template did he just get? Apologies for what just happened. He ended up making a bit of a scene during his awakening. He did warn the others to move away, but they didn't listen. Then an announcement comes through the loudspeaker. All third-year students who have awakened must now proceed to the testing building to examine what kind of magical beast gene you've awakened and to test your martial arts level. All students. Genetic Advancement Detection Device. It can test both the magical beast gene and the individual's martial level. Li Xinyuan from our class awakened a third-level magical beast bloodline, the Rapid Spine Insect. He was really lucky. He used to be just average in our class before the awakening. Now he's number 1. Strong bloodlines really are unfair. Chu Zhou truly lives up to his title as the top student in the grade. He's not only a level 9 martial apprentice, but also awakened a high-tier bloodline among the third-level types, the Ice Demon Dragon. This time the champion of Anqing City has to be him. Did you see that Miss Lu, who is also a level 9 martial apprentice, awakened too? Damn. A rare 4th stage bloodline, a lesser sparrow. The highest scorer in the province. If a 4th stage bloodline beast appeared in its true form, it could destroy most of a city. Warriors are as weak as ants in front of them. Only grandmasters are capable of standing against them. Their awakened beast templates are all ranked as stage 3 or 4. So why is he ranked as class A? Next, from class 7 grade 3, Ehe. Hey wait, what's all this commotion? All the students present are excited to see the information about Ehe. That boy has such a strong presence. I hope I can be like him one day. Wow, what a dream of a guy. Maybe it's best to start building a good relationship now to have a strong network in the future. Among many other flattery-filled comments. This world really does revolve around martial power. Then he walks up to the capsule to measure his powers. This is Ehe. With that kind of aura he just displayed, his level must be high. What kind of bloodline could release that kind of pressure after awakening? This time, our number 1 is making a breakthrough. So his name is Ehe? He's truly someone worth looking forward to. Only basic information available, all other data is? Class 7 Ehe, Martial Disciple Stage 3, Beast Bloodline. Unknown? Martial Disciple Stage 3? Even his younger brother in middle school could beat him. What a disgrace, what a disappointment. Unknown bloodline? Maybe he doesn't have one at all. Exactly, what kind of decent bloodline could someone at stage 3 possibly have? It seems like everything that happened before was just a loud fart. He really is still that same hopeless loser. As expected, the template wasn't detected, but that triggered the Infinite Monster template prompt. Infinite Monster template upgrade guide. Can be done by completing quests or increasing your reputation. You can get additional monster templates by completing quests or increasing your reputation. Current number of draws, 0. His rank template might be different from everyone else's, which means, as long as he meets the conditions, he can extract monster templates infinitely? Then he will become the king of monsters. What? You want to take a break to study at home and come back for the college entrance exam? Do you really think anyone will believe you're actually going to study at home? Teacher, he truly wants to improve. He knows he's fallen far behind, and now he needs to go through special training. If he follows the same pace as everyone else, there won't be any hope for him. You know this. If you want to become a warrior, the only path is through college. He knows he has awakened a bloodline, but his foundation is still too weak. There's no way the protagonist can pass the college entrance exam like this. So get ready to repeat the year and try again next time. There's no need to rush. Teacher, he's desperate to get better. Maybe he doesn't fully understand yet, but he has awakened a powerful bloodline, and the harder he trains, the better his chances of success. Look into his eyes. Those are the eyes of sincerity. He would never dare lie to the teacher. Alright, those eyes do look sincere. Fine, but get ready to return to this teacher next year and repeat the grade. So our protagonist starts walking through the city. His parents' house had been mortgaged for $600,000, and with the accident compensation of over $1 million, he now has a decent amount of starting capital. To improve his power right now, he has two options. One is to level up as a warrior, and the other is to increase the contract rate with the Timora template. According to the data from the Infinite Monster template, each template begins with just one compatibility point, but Timora clearly has 3 compatibility points. Where did the other 2 come from? There's only one answer. The Timora template absorbed the power from the Genetic Awakening Serum and gained 2 compatibility points. This shows that gene-related serums in this world can enhance your template's abilities. Rather than training to death like a regular warrior, spending money to raise his template's compatibility is more suitable for him. He needs to hurry and buy gene enhancement serums. Then, as he swipes his student card at the terminal, he's startled by something. Everyone around him is radiating monster-like auras. Everyone here has awakened their bloodlines. After awakening the ability of the Mad Flame Demora template, he gained a unique sensory skill, the Life Magnetic Field. Demora can sense the life signals of all nearby creatures through the release of his vital magnetic field. He can easily feel the chi of warriors in their boiling blood, as if there were furnaces burning inside them, along with the beastly roars echoing through their bloodlines. Warriors, monsters, he feels them all. He can't suppress the urge to fight that rises within him. After all, the Mad Demora is the king of beasts in his own world, destined to conquer all life on the planet. Unfortunately for now, he's still just a rookie. For the time being, he can only suppress Demora's combat instincts. But when he becomes stronger, he'll show the world what it truly means to be the king of beasts. However, someone taps him on the back. "Hey kid." An impressive girl stands there. "Don't go around staring at people so casually." "Apologies, miss, if he was looking strange." "It's alright, this guy probably just awakened his monster gene. Not being able to control his power yet is normal. So, what brings you to the Warrior Center?" "Well, he's here to buy genetic medicine, but this place is so big he can't find his way around. Could you help him locate a store that sells it?" "Genetic medicine? You're already going down that path at your age? What do you mean, is there something wrong with that?" "Not exactly. It's just that genetic medicine isn't cheap, and it can easily lead to resistance, making it less effective over time. If you want to maximize its effect, warriors usually wait until their bloodline reaches a bottleneck before using it." "Sister, how much does a gene potion cost?" "At his current stage, he can only use the beginner-type solid potion, and that costs around 400,000. Damn, is it really that expensive? Even if he used all his money, he wouldn't be able to buy 5 of those injections. So, sister, would you happen to know anyone around here who could offer him a discount? How about taking her business card? 4th-rank martial artist Huang Healy. With the referral of a veteran warrior, he might be able to get a discount. Thank you very much. See you around if fate allows it, young man." Alright then, next is Warrior Hospital. Welcome. Weapon shop, such insane spending. Then, in a random rented apartment, we see the protagonist transforming into something else, surrounded by syringes scattered on the floor. It looks like he's actually taking a different kind of stuff, bombs to bulk up, haha. We see a system notification informing that his compatibility has increased to 7%. Another notification window shows, general stats, 8 to 10, 10 to 15, weapon classification, 7. This is how it feels to level up for sure. But with each dose of gene potion, his physique improved. On the last one, it only increased a little. It seems that as his body grows stronger, it becomes harder and harder to trigger new base mutations. Still, it wasn't bad at all. In just a few minutes, he achieved results that would normally take others 3 years of hard work to reach. And that's only using his basic physical stats. If he activates the power of Daimola's bloodline, he might actually have a real shot at becoming the top scorer in the entrance exam. If a cheat mode can't beat the geniuses, then it's just not much of a cheat. Departure into the Secret Realm. Secret Realm rifts are ranked from S to E. Higher ranks mean stronger beasts enter through them. The beasts from S-rank realms are completely uncontrollable by humans. If they were to invade the real world, it would be an apocalyptic disaster. So the protagonist heads into an E-rank realm. There are fewer people here than he expected. Maybe it's because this secret realm has been around for a long time. After all, it's an old realm, and all the treasures it once held have already been taken. What's left now are just a few weak beasts for novice warriors to train against. Hello, he booked a ticket for Secret Realm number 3. Sing the renunciation of death. This is your passage. So this is the gateway to a secret realm, a huge blue portal. This is the beginning of his story, how he will become the king of beasts, of monsters, and here we go. He steps through the portal as if diving into the ocean. Then he lands on solid ground. In the sky we see several stars, one resembling Earth called Kanglin, another smaller and reddish, named Anwei, and a yellow one that looks like the sun called Taijin. Even though he had seen the appearance of the secret realm in textbooks, nothing compares to seeing it in person. It's truly magnificent. He can even see the starry sky above. However, a rabbit is stalking him. First-class beast, Bladefang rabbit. It tries to attack the protagonist while he's distracted by the stars, but he quickly grabs the rabbit by the neck. Foolish creature, did it really think he couldn't sense its presence? Then we see that the magnetic field ability is active. He crushes the rabbit's head with his bare hands. The magic core of the Bladefang rabbit is white, of average quality, likely worth around 1,000 yuan. But he earned 1,000 yuan just a few minutes after entering. That's incredibly efficient. Ordinary people work themselves to death for an entire month and only earn around 3 to 4,000. But collecting so many low-rank beast cores is pointless. He wants to find at least a rank 2 creature. Then a monster of that kind shows up. Second-class beast, corpse demon insect. Speak of the devil. Then he begins to fight, slashing at the monster. He had studied the monster encyclopedia. Compared to the steel-like shell on its back, the soft armor on the abdomen of the corpse demon insect is clearly easier to pierce. However, the monster starts spinning rapidly, so he decides to use a martial arts technique, hyper beam, appearing like a blue laser. But the monster quickly counterattacks. Its jaws can fire projectiles? Damn it, he barely manages to dodge. Bastard, does it know how much this outfit cost? At his current martial artist level, he can't do anything against this insect. Without a powerful martial technique to support him, even with deep Dantian energy and strong blood vitality, he can barely exert 50% of his strength. That's because the original body was an academic failure. He has no other choice but to cheat. Mad Demola, activation of the Demon Emperor bloodline. Then his basic stats rise from 15 to 21, altering the shape of his hands. He charges straight into the monster's mouth, slashing it from the inside at insane speed using the claws he gained, staining them with green blood. With his physical stats shooting up to 21 points, he completely crushes the level 2 corpse demon bug. After deactivating his transformation, he still has to release the excess heat from his body, making him drop like a jet engine. The short sword he just bought was corroded by the corpse demon bug's venom. A 250,000 yuan weapon can't even handle a level 2 monster? What a letdown. The quality control is terrible. Was the energy consumption from his first monster hunt too high? He's starving and didn't bring any food. Then he starts to smell something incredibly delicious. What is this fragrance? It's a magic core. The core from the corpse demon bug is green grade, and it even seems to emit a tempting aroma. Could he possibly? Screw it, who cares? So he decides to swallow the magic core, and the system issues a new notification. Monster model, Mad Demola, Demon Emperor. Compatibility increases from 7% to 7.3%. His compatibility went up just by consuming the monster's core. He had spent millions on genetic potions, and they only raised his compatibility by 1%. But with just a single green magic core, it increased by 0.3%. 3 or 4 of those would be worth an entire potion. Then the white grade magic cores from the Bladefang rabbits should increase compatibility by at least 1%. Damn. He wasted money trying to pay to win, turning his frustration into motivation. Tonight he will hunt as much as he wants. Then he activates his sensory ability to hunt down all the monsters nearby. By the following afternoon, his compatibility has increased to 9%, boosting his base stats. After reaching 9% compatibility, consuming more white-grade magic cores no longer increases compatibility, so he'll have to sell them for money. He heads to a shop, where he has a total of 20 white magic cores and 4 green magic cores. Is this kid for real? A mere high school student managed to collect that many magic cores? That's impossible. According to government regulations, martial artists must surrender 1/10 of their loot. For every green magic core, he has to hand over 5 white ones. He ends up with 200,000 credits from the Xia Kingdom in hand. 9 days left until the college entrance exam. Then we see a new portal, launching number 4 D-Class Secret Realm. A group appears. Captain Lin, we should be able to complete the Blood Jade Flower bounty mission this time, right? During our last expedition, we already located the general area of the Blood Jade Flower. But since Old Chen was injured by a monster, He won't be joining us in the secret realm this time. So that means they only have 5 people? Yes, and according to the local rules, at least 6 people are required to enter a D-class secret realm. Don't worry, he hired an agency to introduce a new martial artist to our team. Then we see the team leader, Tier 2 martial artist Lin He. So that guy is a level 9 martial disciple named Dadslaw. That's right. Since he's still a student and not qualified to enter a D-class secret realm, he had to use an illegal agency to create a fake identity and join the team. It cost him 100,000 credits. What a ripoff. Dadslaw, that name sounds a bit weird. He had no choice because if he used his real name, it would violate copyright laws. Forget it, it's just some random codename anyway. With his strength as a level 9 martial disciple, he really isn't suited for a D-class secret realm. Our team will let him observe and learn, but he better not hold us back or get in the way. Alright, no problem. Clarifying roles before the mission? That's actually pretty reliable. Better than being tricked halfway through the operation. All set, let's go. We have to find the blood jade flower this time. According to the tracker, the blood jade flower is located in an oasis up ahead. It's guarded by a level 2 monster with a general grade bloodline. This place used to be a tropical forest, but now it's a desert. It seems like the secret realms aren't connected to just one world. Captain, it's the Earth Demon Rats. They've locked onto us. But take care of them. Understood. Then he throws several throwing knives infused with a black aura, hitting the monsters and causing them to explode mid-air as the team continues moving forward. Eliminated. By channeling martial energy into the throwing darts, they explode like bombs on impact. That guy is ruthless and barely says a word. They keep heading toward their destination. Why aren't we driving? There's still a long way to the oasis. Because the monsters near the oasis are extremely sensitive. The sound of the car wheels would immediately put them on high alert. Assign the roles as we walk. Xiao Xia, throw the stun grenade later to lure out the scouts. Xiao Wu and Hood, you two prepare the traps. Old Lu, provide suppressive fire. The leader will take care of the front line. And he's just watching. Alright then. Then they begin their mission. The stun grenade contains pheromones from high-level monsters, causing some beasts to believe their territory is being invaded, which will lure them in. A Tier 2 monster, an Earth Dragon, appears. The new guy is warned to be careful, the monster is coming. However, we then see an unusual scene. A bald man licking a dagger, one that looks like the kind Hood used earlier against the enemies. The team continues fighting, even managing to sever the Tier 2 monster's head. Captain Lin, the Earth Dragon is dead, let's keep moving forward. However, just as Captain Lin is talking, the monster raises its arm, ready to strike him. But our protagonist is already prepared to save him. He swats the monster's hand away and fires a Kamehameha-like blast into the monster's back. He's just a martial novice, yet he has the power to shake a Tier 2 team. What a powerful punch. His heavy, mountain-crushing fist brought it down. He killed a Tier 2 magical beast. Nothing too special. Thanks for saving the captain, now they're comrades. After walking for quite some time, they finally arrive. Captain Lin, the Earth Dragons have been taken down. This time, we also collected the Earth Dragon's soul essence. A great harvest. That red, shiny thing is really worth that much? It just looks like a big fruit. Of course it is valuable, it can greatly enhance the model. This time was a close call, but he knew they would be able to defeat the dragon and find the blood. Suddenly, no need to think about that now, Captain Lin. Hood stabs him from behind. Captain Lin. The girl screams. What the hell is happening here? What the hell did he do to the captain? Doing what? Isn't it obvious? Clearly he's doing it to get rich. Does anyone know this bald guy? Huapeng robs martial artists of the loot they find in the dungeons. He's watching us now, that bastard. His blade is poisoned. Uda, he's a traitor. How did you know about this place? Even your teammate only found out about the location of the blood jade flowers after entering the dungeon. It was those knives, he incorporated the information into it by using magic. He's very clever, hee. He suggests he goes back to school, the college entrance exams are coming up. Instead, he's walking hand in hand with death. Yes, the exams are coming up and there's a top scorer's title waiting for him. Fucking arrogant, so he throws a dagger, his disgusting bald freak barking in front of me is true arrogance. So loud. Time to take out the trash. Huapeng. This kid is kind of interesting. Uda, kill this boy and bring me his head. Yes, sir. Then he throws several explosive daggers. He surrounds himself with a shield to block the attacks. Be careful, Huda vanished from sight. Look up, he's up there. Martial technique, mountain splitter. Perfect opportunity to test his new ability, looking a bit like Piccolo from Dragon Ball. He channels energy into his forehead and releases a powerful beam from his hand, piercing straight through the enemy. Just one move was enough to take the enemy down. Is he really just a novice martial artist? He even cracks a joke mimicking cowboys. Genetic technique. What great family is he from? Family? He's from the manhwa clan. Is he planning to beg for mercy now? Brat. Even with a genetic technique, he still can't bridge that massive martial gap. Then the bald man begins to transform into something monstrous like a bear. Bloodline activation. Black bear tyrant of terror. Martial technique. Peak shaker. He charges forward at Ihi with great speed. Alright, first his leg. Ihi fires another burst of energy, managing to dodge the incoming attack. Second-tier martial artists really are incredible. His atomic breath couldn't even melt the ankle bone. After dodging yet another direct attack, he quickly launches himself into the air. He taunts the bald man. Already done? Now it's his turn. He begins to emit blue lightning from his hands. Fused core, mountain-crushing fist. He starts unleashing a flurry of rapid punches at the bald man, not even giving him time to breathe. A classic muda attack like in JoJo. The enemy falls to the ground, his body completely battered. Wow, he's seriously powerful. The group is left in disbelief at what they've just witnessed. In truth, he has a genetic technique that emits toxic gas, which is despicable. A wicked martial artist like him will definitely face punishment. He curses him. With a serious expression, the protagonist is about to finish him off. The number of people who curse him keeps growing. Who is he supposed to be? In the next scene, we see a huge stage, and City Central Sports Stadium. Then an announcement is made over the megaphone. Hello, students. Enrollment for this year's martial arts school is about to begin. They would like to wish everyone good luck in martial arts. The college entrance exam follows a competition format. Candidates compete in pairs. The winner advances to the next round. The exam lasts for 3 days, with the first 2 days dedicated to preliminary matches. The students who advance will take the final exam on the 3rd day. Each student will fight in 3 matches during the preliminaries, and those who are successfully promoted will continue competing until the top scorer of this year's college entrance exam is selected. What you, the candidates, carry on your shoulders is the future of humanity. Therefore, please show your true potential during this exam, not only for yourself but for the sake of humanity. I now announce that the advanced exams of Incite have officially begun. We then see several battles taking place at the same time, with different people and various powers. However, something unusual is happening at Arena 6. The audition for ring number 6 seems to have encountered a problem, as one of the candidates has not yet arrived. Upon checking, the 2 competitors listed are Huang Tongtong and Yi He, both from Incite No. 1 High School. Only Huang Tongtong is currently in the ring. According to the rules, if the fighter Yi He does not appear once the match begins, he will be considered to have forfeited. Being ridiculed during the genetic conference was the most humiliating moment of her life. She thought she could use her fire lizard to humiliate Yi He this time. But that kid didn't even dare step foot into the arena? How boring. What a coward. Is he too scared to even show up for the college entrance exam? He must be trembling in his bed at home, ha. A coward like that shouldn't even be in high school, he should just be sweeping the streets. Alright, time's up. Using my authority as judge, since the student Yi He has still not appeared, we will consider this a surrender. However, something is happening, something is coming from the sky. What a huge aura. Is that a person? What kind of power lets someone fly through the sky like that? Yi He is flying and arrives just in time at the arena, making a dramatic entrance. What the hell is going on? But before she can even finish her sentence, Yi He charges forward and knocks her out with a single kick. That was close, he almost had to come back next year. Yi He wins. Just like that? No way, that Yi He is so strong. He beat his opponent with just one kick. And the way he made his entrance was insanely cool. That's the mythical kick from the heavens. Then we see the protagonist's new notification bar. Overall aptitude, 226. Compatibility, 20%. Captain Lin gave him the blood jade fruit as a thank you gift, but it took some time for the fruit to enhance his body. Now he can relax and enjoy what's coming. Then we see other battles taking place. Incite No. 4 Middle School's Long Tao versus Incite No. 1's Yi He. He wins. Incite No. 3 High School versus Incite No. 1's first-year student Yi He. He wins again. The protagonist wins every match in a row. Yi He is so strong, he finishes every battle with just a single kick, never dragging things out. He's basically a one-kick Superman. Student E, he won all 3 matches and has now advanced to the 3rd round. Outside, several journalists and recruiters gather around the protagonist, showering him with attention. Student E, come learn more about Dongshan University. Student E, add her on WeChat. Student E, even though we're a private university, we offer generous subsidies and scholarships. Please take a look at what we offer. Student E, our university needs a strong warrior like you. Student E, do you have a favorite university? Favorite university? Yes, he wants to go to Huadu University. He seems so arrogant after making it to the finals, but he'll come begging for help once he gets slapped in the face later. Student E, make sure to contact them if he ends up failing. No one really believes he can pull it off and get into Huadu University. But it's not entirely their fault. After all, Huadu is the top martial arts university in the country. And it's one of the top 5 universities in the world. It's a sacred place in the hearts of all martial artists. In a second-tier city like Incite, only a handful ever qualify to enter such a sacred land. Forget about it, after all, warriors reach the top with their strength. He'll see their faces when he takes first place. However, their thoughts are suddenly interrupted. Student E, we're requesting your cooperation. We're going to reassess the level of your martial arts right now. Martial arts, 9th level. Student E, used to be only at the 3rd level. Just 15 days ago, there's no way someone can improve that quickly in such a short time. It's impossible to advance that fast in just 3 months. He's implying that he is cheating, right? But after looking into it, we discovered that he often went into the level E secret realm after school. Why would you go to such a dangerous place right before the college entrance exam? He needed to find motivation. Before his father went to heaven, he left him a message. If you want to surpass humanity, then you must not remain human. So, he kept going into the secret realm to fight, and in one fierce life-or-death battle, he broke through his own genetic limit. What? He broke his genetic lock? That's not possible. We need to report this immediately. Somehow, he's become a major target of observation. Then, on the internet, many parents are wishing good luck to all the children taking the exam. Just do what you can, son. Do your best, my child. If you pass, we'll throw a banquet in your honor. There are even live broadcasts conducting street interviews with the parents and friends of the examinees. But there's no one cheering for him. He's truly an orphan nobody cares about. But we see that, in fact, his teacher is rooting for him. Keep fighting, He can do this. Then the next battle is about to begin. He versus the other student, Luo Xian. It's Luo Xian. He remembers that Luo Xian ranked first among the 3rd-year students. Big brother Luo Xian is an 8th-level martial artist who awakened a rare 2nd-tier magical beast bloodline, and both his parents are warriors. His opponent is finished. Alright, you can make the first move. Aha, he really doesn't know who his opponent is. But whether he knows or not, the outcome of the match won't change. What you said is correct. The result is that he will definitely win and he hopes his luck is good. Otherwise, he'll die right here. Then Luo Xian transforms his hands and charges directly at He. His momentum is impressive, but he's still far from having the impact power of that bald guy earlier. Then, with a single strike, He smashes his opponent's back. Aren't there any decent examinees? And City number 1 high school He wins. Another instant knockout, and the one defeated this time was the ranked competitor Luo Xian. What the hell? That Luo Xian guy seems so powerful, but how is he already lying on the ground in an instant? Calm like the clouds, steady like the breeze, the mark of a true master. His skills are on a completely different level compared to the other examinees. The gap is just too big. So cool. He wants him to get me pregnant. Even though he used his hands this time, it was still a one-hit strike. So strong. As expected from the one-kick man. Several fans start shouting, we all like you. He is definitely going to the finals. Just as expected from the man he set his eyes on, he'll definitely defeat him in the finals. In a live broadcast room at the Huadu University admissions office. In 30 minutes, I want all the information on him. Yes, sir. Back in the arena, the advancement matches of the second group are in full swing. Wow. A battle between genius beauties. Luilio, I'm officially tuned in. Kai Xiaoling, known as the Queen of Anqing's second high school. Lu Qingzu, the untouchable flower of Anqing's first high school. There's nothing better than watching beautiful girls fighting each other. Keep it in your pants, you horny guys. And then the referee says, match begin. Kai Xiaoling charges in with everything she's got. Alright, let's see if she can keep up the act once she's slammed to the ground. Martial technique. Lu family's secret art, Sutra of Transient Splendor. She wraps Xiaoling's leg with a blue form, but before it hits, she quickly dodges. Take this fight seriously, there's an opening right here. But it was a trap. She fell right into her trap. Her hand is caught in the air currents that she created and she can't break free. Then, with a murderous look in her eyes, Qingzu quickly counterattacks with a punch, Xianhuang martial technique. A university entrance exam candidate has actually mastered a Xuanhuang level technique. With that level of martial talent, she wouldn't even need the exams to prove her worth. She could be admitted directly into Huadu University. However, Xiaoling transforms into her signature form, a tiger. Bloodline awakening, Shadow Clan's Tiger King. That girl has just awakened a royal third-level bloodline, the Tiger King of the Shadow Clan. Royal bloodlines are notoriously hard to control, let alone the famously ferocious tiger of the Shadow Clan. That girl's future is limitless. Now show me your inferior phoenix bloodline. No, even like this it's enough. This is enough? Who the hell do you think you are? You think someone below the martial artist level can challenge me? Then Qingzu lightly dodges Xiaoling's attacks, spinning her completely, but Xiaoling counters with a double leg strike. Qingzu responds with a special move called Jade Finger, which touches the sole of Xiaoling's foot. The martial energies of Lu Qingzu and Kai Xiaoling collided with tremendous force. The arena was engulfed in a cloud of dust from the impact. Who would emerge victorious in the end? It's Kai Xiaoling, she's the only one still standing in the arena. Wait, Kai Xiaoling has collapsed from exhaustion. Lu Qingzu is still standing in the arena. With nothing but martial techniques, she completely dominated Kai Xiaoling, who was also at the 9th stage of martial disciple and had awakened a royal bloodline. Truly worthy of being called the genius of the century. Lu Qingzu victorious. Holy shit, Queen Lu is insanely strong, literally legendary. I'm calling it now, she's going to be the top scorer in the city of Anqing. Anyone disagree? To the guy above who said she'll be the top scorer, do you even know what bloodline she awakened? A 4th grade inferior phoenix. 4th grade bloodline? What kind of monster is that? Most actual martial artists wouldn't stand the slightest chance against her. Now the drawing for the next round is about to begin. The next name drawn is Yi He from Anqing First Senior High. Group A. Then we see a huge guy saying he's also in Group A. So it looks like they'll be facing each other. He is Shen Guan from Qingfeng Private School. Yi He from Anqing First Senior High. They're scheduled for the second match, so why not watch the first one in the meantime? Luoshi is so strong. He repeated a school year specifically to get into Huadu University. His control over his bloodline awakening is really refined. But against that Chuzhou he didn't stand a chance. Chuzhou? Yeah, also from his school. Don't tell me you didn't know. Winner Chuzhou. Damn, lost right at the beginning. Principal of Qingfeng Private Senior High School. How does this Luoshi compare to me? I'm the president of the martial arts club in the final year at Qingfeng Private High. In terms of combat power, even with my 2 other teammates combined, they still haven't managed to bring me down. Honestly, for this year's exams, he thinks the protagonist is the only real threat. Since childhood, my senses have been exceptionally sharp. He can tell, he is like a dormant volcano, there's a beast inside him. Let's go. Now it's our turn. Top 8 Advancement Tournament, Match 2. Both of them stare each other down, their auras clashing. So with that, Yi He and Sun Guan faced off in the arena. The host announced the second match of the top 8 qualifiers. Sun Guan from Qingfeng Private High, and Yi He from Incite First High. As the competition to advance from the top 8 to the final 4 in Incite's college entrance exams reached its peak, Sun Guan's fist collided with Yi He's in an explosive impact that sent debris flying. The solid platform beneath them cracked apart and exploded, forming a massive, deep crater with a thunderous boom. The sound pierced the audience's ears, and the shockwave distorted their vision. Sun Guan sneered, thrilled the moment he managed to meet his attack with strength equal to, or maybe even greater than, his own. Though blood streamed from his nose, there was no trace of anger on his face, only pure excitement. He had finally found an opponent who could match his power, and it thrilled him to his core. He quickly realized the nosebleed must be a result of Yi He's bloodline ability, a mysterious power that could directly target and destroy an opponent's cells. But it didn't matter, he already knew how to deal with this kind of minor obstacle. He narrowed his eyes at Yi He, calculating. Using his martial energy, Sun Guan formed a protective barrier around his body, shielding himself from Yi He's nuclear radiation. His eyes gleamed with appreciation as he praised Yi He's martial technique. It was truly impressive. Yi He was a real monster, not someone to take lightly. In that case, he'd respond with martial arts passed down through generations of the Sun family. Sun Quan activated his family's technique, the shape wolf fist, following it up immediately with the deer peak strike. Swift and lethal like a venomous snake, with a piercing force rivaling a stag's antlers, his double fists moved like lightning. He was caught off guard, unable to dodge, his body momentarily frozen. The twin blows broke through Ihi's defense and landed squarely in his lower abdomen. He staggered back, clutching his stomach in pain, and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Ihi, once known as the one-kick Superman, had just taken a real hit for the first time. But before he could even catch his breath, Sun Quan was already charging at him with another powerful technique, the bear crash. Sun Quan's attacks weren't just physical. He had fused his martial energy into his body, which amplified the damage he dealt. And it certainly didn't help that all of Ihi's previous opponents had been weak, completely outclassed. They had no real combat experience and clearly neither did he. Ihi lifted his arms to block the incoming strike, but was caught off guard when Sun Quan's arms suddenly extended and became flexible, wrapping tightly around him and pulling him into a crushing hold. He had only been half right about Sun Quan's martial art. Sun Quan could not only inject martial energy into his own body, but also use it to suppress Ihi's, temporarily locking his ability to use any martial arts. Then without pause, Sun Quan unleashed the A-Pearl technique, slamming Ihi through the air and sending him crashing across the arena. And while Ihi was still in the air, Sun Quan shifted smoothly into the Tiger Pounce technique, and landed a solid uppercut, then immediately followed up with the Eagle Dive, just as his opponent was about to crash back down into the arena. At this point it was like watching a one-man zoo in action. Sun Quan boldly declared his intent to win this match in a landslide. Under no circumstance, he claimed, would Ihi be able to defeat him. He launched himself headfirst into Ihi, smashing into the arena in a brilliant, devastating impact. As debris flew in every direction, crossing his arms, Sun Quan laughed with satisfaction, convinced the match was already his. With such a relentless and overpowering assault, he believed Ihi had no chance to recover, let alone strike back. He was certain this was already in the bag. Outside the arena, the medical team began preparing to intervene, as the shape wolf fist combination techniques, unleashed by the champion of Qingfeng Private High, would have been fatal to any ordinary martial artist. As the dust began to settle, the host, more of a clueless entertainer than an expert, was already beginning to declare Sun Quan the winner. But just then the supposed victor felt a terrifying presence looming behind him. What the hell was that? Such a massive aura, coming from a mere martial disciple? Sun Quan turned around and was met with the biggest shock of his life. A giant paw, armored in thick, impenetrable scales, and tipped with razor-sharp claws, stepped forward through the clearing dust. A voice rang out praising Sun Quan's strength, but telling him he was simply unlucky to be matched against him. If it was any comfort, Sun Quan was now the first person to witness his awakened form, the manifestation of his savage-traced Demora bloodline. Dripping with sweat, Sun Quan stood frozen in fear, staring at the terrifying beastly embodiment before him. Apparently, when a high school student can manifest the physical form of their magical beast, they qualify for direct admission to Hadu University. No entrance exam required. The host, stunned, announced that no one had expected that in the small city of Anqing, aside from Lu Qingzhu, a martial arts genius, there would also be a bloodline prodigy. To think that Ihi's bloodline awakening had reached such an overwhelming level, it was truly terrifying. For context, each examiner had been equipped with a monitoring headset to track candidates and monitor various factors both inside and outside the examination room and the arena. However, when the data came in, especially to the white-bearded old man, his eyes nearly popped out of their sockets as he caught sight of Ihi's nuclear radiation readings. As anyone might have guessed, Ihi's nuclear radiation levels were completely off the charts, ranging from 999 to 9999. Seeing such a dangerously high reading, the examiners had no choice but to immediately reinforce the arena with martial energy to contain any potential nuclear leakage. Meanwhile, within the crowded audience, Ihi's bloodline had quickly become the main topic of conversation. They all found it fascinating and incredibly cool, though no one could identify the origin of his magical beast's bloodline. What shocked them even more was the fact that there was no record of Ihi's awakened bloodline in city's #1 middle school. How could someone so powerful, a monster of this level, have remained completely unknown. Strangely enough, he heard every word of the discussion thanks to his heightened senses, and he wasn't surprised in the slightest. After all, it made sense. There didn't seem to be any other creature like Demora on the entire planet of Blue Star, so it wasn't surprising that no one had ever heard of it before. Back to Sun Quan, he was now experiencing another nosebleed. It had become clear that the martial energy shielding his body was no longer strong enough to block Yi's nuclear radiation. Realizing that he couldn't afford to let this fight drag on any longer, Sun Quan decided to bring it to an end. He activated his own bloodline awakening, the Golden Star Ape Demon. His body became encased in martial energy, significantly boosting his physique and overall attributes. He even increased in size. He then unleashed his formal fist technique, the Snake Strike, and launched a full-on offensive. Yi, seeing the incoming strike, countered with a devastating move of his own, a terrifying and clearly powerful technique, the Mountain Arresting Fist. From an objective standpoint, it looked like an upgraded version of Hyper Beam. Sun Quan's entire left arm had been disabled, and if he hadn't managed to release the force of the attack just in time, his entire arm would have been shattered beyond any hope of recovery. He now realized how much of a scene he had made earlier, boasting without ever having gone all out. Now that he finally had, it felt like a slap in the face. As for Yi, this guy was completely immersed in the fight, so much so that he had abandoned any restraint he might have had. He stood over a clearly dominated Sun Quan, acknowledging that he was impressive, but this was the end of the road for him. The current outcome, he made clear, could no longer be changed. Witnessing the activation of Sun Quan's bloodline, the host announced with excitement that in the second match of this year's top 8 to Final 4 round of the college entrance exams, a third-order king bloodline had appeared, and his opponent, someone wielding an unknown and incredibly powerful magical beast bloodline, made this a truly rare and remarkable battle. Sun Quan steadied himself, assuming a stance and forcing calm into his thoughts. He needed to evaluate the situation rationally. Now that Yi's bloodline had awakened, his strength was beyond comprehension. A direct confrontation was no longer viable, especially since Sun Quan could no longer suppress his martial energy effectively. His only option now was to retreat strategically, and wait for a chance to counterattack once an opening appeared. On the other side, Yi launched into a rapid charge toward him, warning the larger fighter not to lose focus. But as soon as Yi closed the distance, Sun Quan made a tactical retreat. At the same time, he activated his formal fist technique, the Snake Strike. His arm extended, becoming flexible and fluid like a snake, wrapping tightly around Yi's left hand. With his left hand momentarily restrained, Yi was caught off guard for just a split second, a distraction that gave Sun Quan the narrow opening he needed. Seizing the moment, Sun Quan swiftly maneuvered behind him. He noted that Yi hadn't been able to shake him off as expected, but in truth, his goal had been to reposition himself from the beginning. Now that he had the angle, Sun Quan leaped high into the air, and came crashing down on Yi, with a force that felt like the weight of 1,000 tons. The sheer pressure of the attack would have completely immobilized any other candidate, but Yi managed to evade the bone-crushing stomp with ease. Once again, Sun Quan executed a tactical retreat, springing back in 2 massive leaps. The moment his attack failed to land, he believed he had created enough distance between them, but when he looked up, he was startled to see Yi calmly watching him the entire time, arms folded across his chest. Then, with a sudden burst of power, Yi released his terrifying aura, and declared that it was now his turn to go on the offensive. The instant he raised his right foot, he appeared in front of Sun Quan, unleashing yet another devastating mountain-arresting fist. But just as the attack was about to land, Sun Quan unexpectedly dropped to his knees and admitted defeat. He surrendered respectfully, leaving Yi momentarily speechless. He hadn't expected this outcome at all. He'd been fully fired up, ready to launch into his next move. But Sun Quan was giving up now. What was he supposed to do now that he was all fired up? Damn, this was seriously uncomfortable. Letting out a heavy sigh, he exhaled a fiery breath, muttering that holding back all this energy was making him feel unbelievably stifled. Still, rules were rules. Once one party surrenders, the other loses the right to continue the fight. The host officially declared Yi as the winner, and the crowd erupted, cheering like crazed fans, shouting that he was incredible, that he was cool. Meanwhile, on nearly every media platform, Yi and Sun Guan's match had become the top trending topic. Sun Guan, now the subject of ridicule, was being humiliated as fans compared his confident attitude before the match with his surrender afterward. At the same time, Yi's popularity skyrocketed. His fan base exploded overnight, with supporters creating a dedicated chat group, where full videos of his entrance exam matches were shared and discussed. They unanimously declared Big Brother Yi the guaranteed top scorer of this year's college entrance exams. And according to them, not even Chu Zhou or Lu Qingzhu would be a match for him. Elsewhere, the principal of Qingfeng Private High was trembling with barely contained fury. He had pinned all his remaining hopes on Sun Guan after Lu Asha's earlier loss, so when Sun Guan finally appeared, he wasted no time expressing his anger. How could Sun Guan admit defeat? Did he have any idea how much money had been invested in his training? Ungrateful bastard. If he didn't pay back every last cent, he shouldn't even think about stepping foot in a college. Sun Guan, unfazed, calmly walked over to the principal and placed his injured hand on the man's shoulder. When the principal asked what the hell he was doing, Sun Guan replied simply, he couldn't take another punch from Yi, so he surrendered because otherwise, he would have seriously damaged his already injured body. And what was the principal planning to take that punch for him? As for the so-called kindness that Qingfeng Private High had shown him over the years, he said he would repay it gradually in due time. But the principal should kindly refrain from threatening a warrior who was far stronger than him. That subtle threat shut the fat old bastard up real quick. Sweating bullets and trembling with fear, he reluctantly admitted that Sun Guan had a point. Anyway, after such a fierce and intense competition, the top 4 contenders in this year's college entrance exams were finally decided. They were Yi, Lu Qingzhu, Chu Zhou, and some random nobody no one really cared about. Meanwhile, the principal of Incity's #1 middle school was floating on cloud 9, fanning himself with the smug satisfaction of a creepy old bastard. He remarked that old Lu had worked hard for the school over the years, and that it was finally time for him to get a promotion. The draw for the semi-finals then took place, and Yi drew the first slot yet again. Unexpectedly, Lu Qingzhu also pulled the other first slot, which meant the two would be facing off. On the other side of the bracket, Chu Zhou was matched up against the forgettable unknown. This made the first match of the college entrance exam semifinals, an internal battle between two powerhouses from Incity's #1 middle school. It was quickly dubbed the strongest showdown in the entire history of Incity's entrance exams, the most highly anticipated match since the very beginning of the competition. The crowd was hyped. It was Goddess Lu versus the so-called one-punch Superman. A large portion of the fanbase was convinced that Goddess Lu had the upper hand. Apparently, reports suggested she had mastered 2 mysterious royal-level martial arts techniques. She used these to easily crush Kai Shaoling, who had a third-order king bloodline. Even more impressively, she had awakened her 4th-level Netherbird bloodline, though this had yet to be publicly revealed. On the other hand, while Sun Guan also possessed a third-order king bloodline, it was only after his intense fight that Yi was forced to awaken his own bloodline. Yi's bloodline did seem extremely powerful. In fact, it was estimated to also be 4th level, but still many believed he couldn't compare to the sheer martial arts foundation and heritage of their beloved Goddess Lu. Eventually, the long-awaited moment arrived. The arena was fully set, and the crowd in the venue roared with excitement. Both Yi and Lu Qingzhu stepped onto the platform, and the referee wasted no time in starting the match. The instant the match began, a dense cloud of dust and steam burst around Yi, completely enveloping him. It rapidly spread across the arena, temporarily shrouding the field, and cutting off Lu Qingzhu's direct line of sight. But the moment she looked straight ahead, she was startled to see the silhouette of a terrifying presence looming within the swirling dust and steam. Steeling herself, she silently hoped that Yi was strong enough to be a worthy opponent. The audience, now completely blocked by the thick wall of steam engulfing almost the entire arena, was left clueless about what was happening inside. They couldn't see Yi at all, and could only faintly make out the outline of Lu Qingzhu. So, in that moment, they were practically blind to the fight, left with no choice but to rely on the host to narrate and help them understand what was going on. Still, the host kept the energy high and the suspense alive, wondering aloud how Lu Qingzhu, the young prodigy from the Lu family, would face off against Yi. The unexpected dark horse of this year's college entrance exams. With this much steam flooding the arena, could it be that He had undergone another bloodline awakening? They could only wait and see. But apparently, He hadn't awakened anything new. Instead, he had immediately entered his blood awakening state, burning off enough energy to create all that dense steam. The purpose was clear: to block Lu Qingzhu's vision, and buy himself a bit more time, to analyze his next move more thoroughly. Besides, he knew full well that Lu Qingzhu wasn't likely to make the first move, so this stalling tactic worked perfectly in his favor. He had carefully studied the battle footage from her previous match with Kai Shaoling, and crafted his strategy based on what he observed. He fully understood that Lu Qingzhu's martial arts skills were leagues above his own. No matter how powerful he was, with her mastery of magical martial arts, he wouldn't be able to harm her directly. She wasn't just strong, she was a true martial arts genius with high combat IQ. The longer the fight dragged on, the more the odds would tilt against him. It was clear that he had to go all out from the very beginning. Without hesitation, he activated his mountain-arresting fist. A sonic boom tore through the space, as he launched himself forward in a blur, closing in on Lu Qingzhu with a massive, glowing fist. The strike was telegraphed clearly, but Lu Qingzhu, calm and razor-sharp, spread her arms evenly, and manipulated the airflow in front of her, as if preparing to absorb the full force of the incoming blow. She believed that since he had taken the initiative to attack, then it was only natural for her to defend with her martial arts, and prepare for a counterattack. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Ihi's mountain-arresting fist never landed. Instead, just as he deactivated the technique, he twisted his hips and waist skillfully, and landed suddenly to close the distance between himself and Lu Qingzhu. Then, using his martial energy, he manifested Demora's thick tail behind him, swinging it like a flexible steel whip that sliced through the air, and struck at Lu Qingzhu's lower body from the side. What the hell? He had completely tricked her. In all her years of fighting since childhood, Lu Qingzhu had never encountered a situation where an opponent clearly committed to a fist technique, only to suddenly switch to a whip attack. When masters fight, crucial shifts often happen in the span of a few short seconds, and now her rhythm had been thrown off entirely. She immediately performed a series of backflips to put some distance between herself and Ihi. But Ihi wasn't going to let such an opening slip by, now that his opponent had clearly lost her flow. Relying on his powerful physique, he launched into a relentless pursuit, attacking with fierce intensity in order to press his advantage. The very moment Lu Qingzhu tried to regain balance, Ihi was already upon her again. Meanwhile, on the live broadcast, viewers watched in shock, as Lu Qingzhu was caught off guard by Ihi's deceptive maneuver, and was quickly pushed into a disadvantage. Some online began to criticize Ihi for using underhanded tactics, but others defended him, arguing that in battle, everything was fair game. Regardless of public opinion, Ihi's assault was too fierce, too unrelenting, leaving Lu Qingzhu with no room to breathe or escape. An endless barrage of attacks rained down on her, like a meteor shower falling from the sky. At one point, Lu Qingzhu managed to channel her martial energy, and created enough force to push Ihi back slightly, giving her the chance to break free. Or so she thought, because in that very instant, he transformed his right hand into a beast-like form equipped with deadly claws. And it was clear Lu Qingzhu wasn't getting away so easily. Suddenly, his dark, formidable claws were imbued with martial energy, as they tore forward, ripping through the air with lethal intent. Fortunately for Lu Qingzhu, she was quick enough to sense the danger. With skillful precision, she flipped horizontally in the air, just narrowly avoiding the lethal claws that Ihi had projected, which were imbued with his martial energy. The claws exploded behind her as she gracefully landed. But of course, her dear classmate didn't give her any time to breathe. Ihi was upon her once again, leaving no room for respite. The battle returned to its previous rhythm. Ihi on the offensive, unleashing an endless barrage of attacks, and Lu Qingzhu on the defensive, blocking wave after wave of his strikes. Ihi roared with intensity, his fists swinging out like afterimages, constantly compressing the space Lu Qingzhu could use to escape. At one point, she couldn't help but wonder why Ihi wasn't showing any signs of exhaustion, despite the relentless intensity of his attacks. It seemed as though her opponent possessed tremendous physical strength and stamina. Lu Qingzhu had mastered two mysterious royal martial arts, one of which was the Liu family's secret art, the floating shadow, a defensive technique, and the other the Hanyuan jade finger, which was more offensive in nature. If she had the opportunity to use either of these techniques, she could easily escape from Yi's onslaught. But it was as if Yi had anticipated this, denying her any chance to do so. From the looks of it, she wouldn't be able to hold on much longer before she was forced off the arena, which would result in a loss by eviction. While her face remained cool and composed, inwardly Lu Qingzhu was sweating with anxiety. Cornered and with no other options left, she realized it was time to use her trump card. Yi immediately sensed the shift in the air, as Lu Qingzhu activated her bloodline awakening, the Netherbird, and in that instant, just as Yi was about to land a punch, he quickly retracted his fist and stepped back. The reason? Dark purple sparks erupted from Lu Qingzhu's body, accompanied by the sharp, high-pitched cry of a bird. He saw Lu Qingzhu soaring into the sky, and the Demora's blood coursing through his body began to boil, as if he sensed the provocation of another creature, one of a very high level of life. Plump, dark purple wings grew on Lu Qingzhu's back, and under the light, the wings shimmered with a spectrum of colorful hues. The dark purple wings didn't need to flap, as the wind element naturally lifted Lu Qingzhu into the air, her amethyst-like pupils fixed directly below, staring down at the dark blue demon on the arena. The air seemed to spark with the fighting spirit shared between the two. The host loudly and enthusiastically announced that although Lu Qingzhu was still far from mastering the true form of her bloodline, she had managed to develop the most significant organ of her bloodline, the wings of the Netherbird. For the first time, the Netherbird was on full display, courtesy of none other than our genius beauty Lu Qingzhu. Subsequently, the live broadcast platform exploded in activity, as comments poured in like a tidal wave. After her bloodline awakened, Lu Qingzhu extended her slender jade finger, pointing it at Yi as her fingertips turned a transparent jade color. In a cold tone, she warned Yi to be careful, admitting that she couldn't control her strength in this awakened form. Really? Yi replied excitedly from below. I'm glad you said that because up until now, I've only exerted about 50% of my strength. I guess I can finally go all out. Don't disappoint me. Accompanied by a strong wind that swept across the entire arena, Lu Qingzhu appeared behind Yi in an instant, like a bolt of lightning. Before he even registered her presence, he thought he smelled a faint and beautiful fragrance. Lu Qingzhu activated her mysterious royal martial art, the Hanyuan jade finger. He immediately turned and activated his atomic blast fist, a crystal blue light glowing on his fist. This was the skill he used to combine Demora's atomic reaction ability with his martial arts. The elegant jade fingertips collided with the ferocious blue magic fist, causing a massive energy reaction where the two forces met. A huge explosion of light and heat followed, blinding the audience with the brilliance of the impact and the powerful gust of wind. In the arena, both fighters were blown away by the turbulent airflow at the same time. Lu Qingzhu's dark purple wings flapped, and the wind elements naturally gathered around her, offsetting the force of the impact from being blown away. Using this momentum, she broke through the smoke and dust, heading straight for Yi. But then she suddenly sensed a fatal threat. Shocked and surprised, her pupils contracted as she realized what was happening. On the opposite end of the arena, the protruding vertebrae on Yi's back began to light up, one by one. Each time a vertebra lit up, it meant a horrible atomic reaction was occurring. Soon, all the vertebrae on his back were flashing with blue light. Yi opened his mouth, and a blue atomic light began to form in his throat, emitting a breath of destruction. This was Demora's atomic breath. We see an enormous concentration of lightning around the arena. This fluctuation of energy, it's not good. What's going on? Yi, his true magical beast form, seems to be gaining power. The protruding spine on his back appears to be storing a massive amount of energy, looking somewhat like a Bulbasaur. And this immense energy is being channeled directly to his mouth little by little, until finally he unleashes a massive beam from his mouth, an atomic breath. It devastates everything around it, heading straight toward Lu Qingzhu. She tries to defend herself by taking a stance with her wings fully covering her body, awakening latent abilities. She attempts to withstand the powerful attack. Then the tournament narrator comments, "Oh no." Yi's breath was deflected by the feathers on Lu Qingzhu's body. The attacks start heading toward the arena, and the spectators become afraid that the strikes might hit them. However, all of them are blocked by a powerful shield. Every single spectator is protected at the same time by a man in a suit floating in the air. The mayor of N City, Huang Qing. He declares, "Watch closely. The strongest champion in the history of our city will be born today." Fortunately, Mayor Huang protected the audience. We then see a blood stain on the floor of the arena. Lu Qingzhu is completely wounded, her wings plucked, her clothes torn, giving us a striking image. He truly broke through the inferior bird's defense with just a single blow. Can she really defeat him? Then we see a flashback from her childhood. Lu Qingzhu, she is the hope for the revival of the Lu family she cannot lose. The ancestors of the Lu family have been watching her through the generations. Do not disappoint them. We see a poor little girl surrounded by training tokens. Qingzhu, her mother devoted all her efforts to train her so that one day she could bring the Lu family back to life. She cannot be stubborn. But mother, it's not enough to just pass this exam, I have to keep winning in the future. But mom, she can't breathe. Then we return to the present. She's so exhausted that terrible thoughts begin to creep in. And her classmate he is truly powerful. Faced with such a strong opponent, it's only natural that she wouldn't be able to win, right? She thinks he should be able to take advantage of the opening she's showing. Classmate he defeat her quickly. However, he doesn't dodge the attack, allowing it to land directly. What? Why the hell didn't he avoid that strike? Classmate Qingzhu, where did your fighting spirit go? Asks the protagonist with a sincere look in his eyes. She realizes that he already knew her plan. Have you even looked me in the eye? How dare you try to lose on purpose? He's going to earn this title fair and square. Then he begins to gather energy in his fist, ready to strike her. She stands still, unable to react. However, without mercy, the protagonist lands a powerful punch right to her face, which she instinctively blocks with both hands. Then it's time to start looking at him and taking this fight seriously. Still want to act serious? Still want to act serious? Still want to act serious? He starts throwing a rapid series of punches at her while shouting, "Fight back, you bitch." He's a bad person. No one has ever dared to hit her like this since she was a child. She clearly intended to hand him the victory. Why do you keep fighting? Why do you keep hitting me like this? Don't hit a girl in the face, you bastard. Then, an explosion of power erupts around the arena. Exactly what he wanted. This is what he's after. If she doesn't want to get slapped in the face, then she better take it seriously. Taboo martial art, blood ignition. True form of the magical beast. Then we see her transforming into a true angel, but with black wings. Beautiful. Classmate she will defeat him in her strongest form just as he wished. Her eyes overflow with power. So, at that very moment, the battle between Lu Qingzhu and he reached the point where both sides were finally open and unmistakable about their intent to go all out. All the expectations placed on her by her family, along with everything that came with it, her reputation as the eldest daughter of the Lu family, any lingering doubts, and the hopes of confirming her status as the top student in this year's citywide college entrance exams, faded away in that instant. Lu Qingzhu had made up her mind completely, and her focus was now entirely on defeating He. On the other side, He, having finally succeeded in pushing Lu Qingzhu into fighting seriously and revealing her strongest form, was pleased with how things had turned out. From below, he looked up at Lu Qingzhu's radiant and dazzling form of the nether bird magical beast, his eyes full of excitement. Now that his opponent had revealed her true form, the battle was finally starting to get interesting. And since it had come to this, he wouldn't hold back either. He would now reveal his true form as well. Suddenly He's martial energy, fused with his atomic reaction energy, surged and wrapped around his entire body. Blue flames and crackling lightning surrounded him. Moments later, his body was covered in an unbreakable layer of scales, glowing with a terrifying force, radioactive energy to be precise. This was He's physical technique that fused Demora's template with his Har Qigong, the nuclear-like combat body. Then, with a thunderous explosion, the energy gathered beneath He's feet burst forth with a deafening sound, launching him into the sky. This massive energy explosion propelled He straight toward Lu Qingzhu like a missile. But this sudden offensive did not shake Lu Qingzhu in the slightest. She stared at He with an eerie calm. Then she flapped her wings, stirring the surrounding air currents and gathering them into a hurricane. This hurricane, known as the Tearing Hurricane, was infused with netherworld energy, which possessed the ability to devour any form of energy. The Tearing Hurricane spread out and consumed the entire space, shattering the base of the arena into pieces. Yet He showed no fear. He dove straight into the netherworld hurricane like a torpedo. For context, diving headfirst into the Tearing Hurricane was practically a death sentence. especially for a martial arts disciple. The moment he entered the hurricane, he activated his atomic fist and threw a powerful punch. A massive explosion of blue energy erupted, ripping through the hurricane and blasting away the dust as it surged toward Lu Qingzhu with unstoppable momentum. In response, Lu Qingzhu drew upon the explosive power of her netherworld bloodline and activated the cry of the nether bird. The strange markings on her face instantly turned red and purple, glowing as hot as searing iron. Enduring the pain, Lu Qingzhu opened her mouth in Yi's direction. Then visible sound waves distorted the air and swept forward. Yi's figure was engulfed by the sonic waves, and the atomic energy within his body began to flicker like a weak flame. You see, if Yi's legendary Demora bloodline had not been of a high enough level, his internal organs would have been torn apart on the spot by the aura of the nether bird sound waves. Clearly, under normal circumstances, Yi would have been killed by the attack. "Do you think you're the only one who can scream?" he questioned, almost amused, his eyes gleaming with a blue atomic light. And just like that, he opened his mouth, and one by one beams of blue light lit up along the vertebrae on his back. The atomic energy reacted violently, and this terrifying aura spread outward. This sequence of events was familiar and could lead to only one outcome: Demora's atomic breath. But this time it was unleashed at full power. Upon seeing this, Lu Qingzhu felt the pressure as well, though unlike before, she was not overwhelmed by it. Determination burned in her beautiful eyes. Already familiar with this technique, she neither retreated nor relied on her strongest barrier. Instead, she chose to respond with her family's most powerful defensive move, believing that the best defense was an even stronger offense. Placing her middle and index fingers on her forehead, a familiar jade-colored light shimmered brightly at their tips. It was clear now that Lu Qingzhu intended to confront Yi head-on. At that moment, a brilliant beam of blue light shot toward Lu Qingzhu with enough force to pierce through the clouds. You see, the outcome of this attack would determine the winner of this battle, because after releasing the atomic breath at full power, Yi's body would be unable to produce any further atomic reactions for a while. On the other side, Lu Qingzhu, who had already abandoned any attempt at defense, unleashed her strongest attack, the Shenhuang martial arts technique Hunyuan Jade Finger, supercharged by the power of her nether sparrow bloodline, the netherworld bloodthorn. This created an explosive counterattack of equal force. The jade-colored tips of her fingers condensed with destructive purple-red energy, and Lu Qingzhu pointed directly at the oncoming atomic breath beam. The dark purple wings behind her surged forward, giving her the full momentum she needed to split the beam of atomic breath. The two devastating forces charged straight at each other, headed for an inevitable collision. At that very moment, outside the arena, everyone watched with bated breath as the host announced with excitement that the sheer power of the clash had already surpassed what either warrior could control. The examiners, aware of the danger, immediately reinforced the arena's barrier to its maximum using martial energy. On the other hand, the mayor was not pleased with Lu Qingzhu's strategy of using an offensive technique to counter Yi's atomic breath. In his eyes, no matter which of these two geniuses suffered an accident, it would be a loss not just for Anqing but for the entire Xia kingdom. Therefore he decided to intervene, not to stop the match, but to ensure that neither Yi nor Lu Qingzhu became collateral damage. They had proven themselves to be far too important for their city to suffer such an irreversible loss. Activating his genetic earth magic, the divine leyline wall, the ground shook as three thick, towering walls blessed with his martial energy rose up in an instant, blocking both the atomic breath and the netherworld bloodthorn. In the next moment, the stone walls shattered, and a dazzling explosion of multicolored light engulfed everything. As the radiant burst of energy swept through the arena, the martial arts shields projected by the examiners began to collapse one after another under the overwhelming force. Dust and smoke filled the entire arena, spreading out to cover a massive part of the stadium. Seeing the aftermath of the collision, the audience quickly realized that had the mayor not stepped in, many of them would have been caught in the blast and possibly killed. Meanwhile, the mayor stood at the edge of the smoke-filled arena, his expression solemn. Although he had managed to summon three divine leyline walls in time to slow down the full-force attacks from Yi and Lu Qingzhu, the process had been too rushed. The walls weren't as strong as they normally would be. In the end, they were broken down one after the other by the force from both sides, allowing Yi's atomic breath and Lu Qingzhu's netherworld bloodthorn to inevitably collide. You see, if anything were to happen to either of these two prodigies, even resigning from his post would not be enough to quell the public's fury. In the hearts of the Xia people, a martial arts genius carried the same appeal and influence as a top celebrity. At that moment, inside the arena, a slender hand came into view as fresh blood dripped continuously onto the ground. The hand clearly belonged to Lu Qingzhu, whose entire left arm had been severely burned and mangled. She looked utterly miserable, crouched on the ground, with her wings completely scorched away. The martial power of her magical beast's true form had also been completely depleted, leaving her unable to transform again for the time being. But even after all this, Lu Qingzhu still didn't want to give up. She pushed herself, trying to summon the will to continue fighting. And just as she was about to rise to her feet, he emerged from the thick, dusty smoke, his presence suddenly towering over her crouched figure. He told her that if she didn't get rid of the nuclear radiation inside her body, she would end up crippled in the future. Lu Qingzhu fell silent for a moment. She clearly remembered that her move had hit her opponent directly, so why was he virtually unscathed? After a brief silence, she finally spoke. She wanted to understand why he had pushed her so hard. She had never wanted to fight him this seriously, so why did he force her into it? He squatted down and looked her directly in the eyes. He asked whether she truly didn't want to fight him, or if she was just being rebellious, refusing to admit her own competitive spirit. He said that when she was fighting with all her strength just now, he could clearly feel her desire to win. Lu Qingzhu was left speechless upon hearing this. But as she reflected on the battle, she slowly came to understand that he was right. Just moments ago, she had been focused solely on defeating him. That's why she had abandoned all defense and poured everything into her attack. But then she began to question herself. She had always believed she hated fighting and had even wanted to lose to he as quickly as possible. And yet, during that moment she had felt it, a shift. An exhilarating feeling of fighting, not for her family, not for expectations, but purely for herself. Her drifting thoughts were cut short when he gently placed a hand on her left shoulder. The unexpected touch made Lu Qingzhu suddenly blush as red as a cherry tomato. He then told her the reason why she had lost so decisively. She had been distracted by too many conflicting thoughts during the fight, something that would always lead to defeat against strong opponents. He absorbed all the nuclear radiation from Lu Qingzhu's body and stood up. As she looked at her now healed arm in confusion, he casually remarked that she was still the strongest opponent he had ever faced. He said that if fate allowed them to meet again in battle, he hoped she would give it her all from the very beginning so they could have a battle in its purest form. This comment deepened Lu Qingzhu's blush even more. In that moment she began to see he in a different light. At the same time, the smoke and dust in the arena cleared. All cameras zoomed in on the center of the battlefield. Under the watchful eyes of the entire audience, he stood proudly. The referee waited a moment, and upon assessing Lu Qingzhu's condition, officially declared he as the winner. And with that, the first match of the semi-finals came to an end. In the next battle, Chu Zhou won without suspense, advancing to the final alongside he. Naturally, the final match, being the last battle and the ultimate climax of Incity's college entrance examination, would determine who would be awarded the title of Incity's top scorer. But truthfully, the biggest winner had already become clear. Incity's #1 middle school, which had managed to secure the entire final stage with only its students. The dark horse of Incity's #1 middle school would now face off against the school's star prodigy Chu Zhou. On the live stream for the public, the number of viewers, already in the hundreds of thousands, had skyrocketed to tens of millions, all watching with breathless anticipation. And although the final match did not carry the same suspense as the semi-finals between he and Lu Qingzhu, this was primarily because he was simply too overpowered, not because Chu Zhou lacked talent. In any case, after witnessing he defeat Lu Qingzhu, no one held much hope for Chu Zhou. However, this did not shake Chu Zhou's fighting spirit in the slightest. He was a true warrior, someone who possessed an unwavering heart dedicated to martial arts. From the moment he first awakened his power, he had earned the admiration of thousands. But he had never let fame cloud his judgment or distract him from his training. Now, even when all eyes were no longer on him and he was not the favored candidate, he did not feel disheartened. In fact, Chu Zhou believed that when it came to pure willpower, he far surpassed Lu Qingzhu. And with that belief, he felt capable of standing toe-to-toe with he. At the referee's signal, the final battle officially began. "Come at me with everything you've got," he said, revealing a smile with gleaming white teeth and eyes that sparkled with anticipation. Despite having defeated the so-called strongest candidate, Lu Qingzhu, he had no intention of underestimating Chu Zhou. From what he had observed, Chu Zhou likely possessed the highest combat intelligence among all the candidates this year. Remaining composed, Chu Zhou brought his hands together and slowly opened them, and in his palms, an icy long sword began to condense. This was the manifestation of his bloodline ability, ice sculpture. A layer of frost-infused martial energy enveloped his entire body, effectively insulating him from the surrounding nuclear radiation. This clear countermeasure showed that Chuzhou had thoroughly studied Yi's fighting methods and had come prepared. With unwavering focus in his eyes, Chuzhou launched into action using the 7-star steps. In an instant, his body blurred and left behind countless indistinct afterimages as he rapidly advanced toward Yi. Then came the sound of a sharp whoosh. Hundreds of cold blades lunged toward Yi from all directions. Yet Yi remained motionless, not even bothering to distinguish the real Chuzhou from the many illusions. He had his own method for disrupting this barrage of shadows. Clenching his fists tightly, the muscles in his arms bulged and became as solid as iron bars. What was even more impressive, however, was the blue atomic and martial energy pulsing around his arms in thick waves. The radiant blue glow made the veins across his arms stand out vividly. With a sudden movement, Yi unleashed his explosive fist, his punch slamming violently into the ground. The floor trembled and an enormous burst of blue energy erupted outward. With a thunderous boom, nuclear energy engulfed the area within a 10-meter radius around him. Forced by the blast, Chuzhou had no choice but to retreat. What a monster! Chuzhou stared at the dented arena, now looking like it had been bombarded by artillery fire, feeling a deep sense of dread. With his current defensive capabilities, there was no way he could face Yi in a direct, head-on fight. In other words, was there truly any warrior of their age who could go toe-to-toe with Yi in close combat? Even Xingguan, the monstrous prodigy from Qingfeng Private High known for his raw physical strength, had no choice but to admit defeat and surrender once Yi's bloodline had fully awakened. At this moment, Chuzhou made a decision. Since close-quarters combat was out of the question, he would have to rely on long-range attacks to wear Yi down. Chuzhou activated his awakened bloodline, the Ice Element Dragon. Crystalline, ice-like dragon scales emerged from his body. His eyes shifted into golden vertical slits, and a pair of obsidian black horns protruded from his head. With the power granted by his bloodline, he launched one of its signature techniques, Ice Pulse. In an instant, a fierce cold wind swept through the arena, and massive ice spikes formed a towering tsunami of ice, dozens of meters high, which surged violently toward Yi. Now, while the Ice Dragon ranked lower than king-level bloodlines like the Shadow Tiger King and Venus Ape Demon among the third-tier magical beasts, in Chuzhou's hands, its combat power exceeded even that of Kai Shaoling and Xingguan. Both the audience and the examiners were stunned. With this tremendous bloodline power, a wave of ice engulfed the entire arena and the stadium, until now bathed in the scorching summer sun, plummeted in temperature to below freezing. The live stream, which had been non-stop in showing Yi's dominance, suddenly went quiet. Yi's critics erupted in celebration, proclaiming Chuzhou's handsomeness and labeling Yi as a devil. Chuzhou breathed heavily. The sudden release of such overwhelming frost energy had put a heavy strain on his body. And though Yi was now frozen solid within the thick layers of ice pulse, Chuzhou did not allow himself to relax. He wasn't foolish enough to believe Yi would be taken down that easily. But just then, as the iceberg began to melt, comments on the live stream started pouring in rapidly, and from within the ice, Yi's wide-open mouth became visible, emitting a brilliant blue atomic glow. A breath of annihilation had already begun brewing in his throat. And in the very next second, a blinding blue energy beam blasted through the iceberg and shot straight toward Chuzhou. Chuzhou, who had been cautious the entire time, stared wide-eyed in disbelief. He couldn't comprehend how Yi had managed to break through such thick ice so quickly and with such ease. He immediately leapt backward, manipulating the ground beneath him to raise a massive icicle infused with martial energy to serve as a defensive barrier. When the blue energy beam slammed into the thick icicle, it triggered a thunderous explosion. Fortunately, Yi's atomic breath this time was mainly intended to free himself from the frozen trap, so its power wasn't nearly as overwhelming as in previous attacks. Still, it was nothing short of excessive. Yi's abilities were undeniably the most terrifying that any examiner had ever witnessed. Nuclear radiation, nuclear explosions, nuclear lasers. Was it even reasonable to expect a high school graduate to wield or withstand such destructive power? The melted ice evaporated instantly under the intense heat radiating from Yi's body as he stepped forward, once again clad in his signature nuclear light battle form. The atomic reactions within Yi's body accelerated, and a layer of dazzling blue flames enveloped him entirely. Any ice within 5 meters of him vaporized into mist. It truly seemed as though Chuzhou's ice-based power had been completely countered. Yi strode forward toward Chuzhou, leaving behind scorched, melting footprints with every step. No matter how Chuzhou activated his ice-attributed bloodline to attack, it was of no use. The difference in power was simply too vast. So far, only Lu Qingzhu had managed to face Yi head-on in this form. Even Xinguan had chosen to surrender directly. Still, Chuzhou wanted to give it a try. His golden dragon eyes glinted as he stared intently at Yi. He informed his overwhelmingly powerful opponent that the next move would be his final one, the current limit of his martial arts ability, something he had originally reserved for a potential clash with Lu Qingzhu. Chuzhou closed his eyes, shut off all 5 senses, and pointed the ice sword in his hand straight toward the sky. A layer of frost spread across his body, and the crystalline dragon scales gleamed even more brilliantly than before. This marked the full release of his bloodline's power. A singular, destructive sword intent emanated from him. The first to react was the mayor, whose face showed a look of shock no less intense than when he had seen Lu Qingzhu perform the Xinhuang martial technique. This is sword intent, he thought silently, stunned. But how old is Chuzhou to already have reached this level of strength? Accompanied by a sudden, chilling wind, Chuzhou lunged at Yi. A high-pitched dragon's roar and the sharp, ringing tone of a sword echoed throughout the arena. Drops of fresh, hot blood fell to the ground, sizzling and burning small holes where they landed, as Yi displayed his slightly injured hand. There was a sword wound on the back of his hand, deep enough to draw blood. But the torn flesh began to twitch, and soon that familiar blue glow returned, indicating that it was slowly healing itself. Calmly, Yi told Chuzhou to wait until he could get a better sword. Only then might he have a real chance to cut through his skin properly. Chuzhou's eyes widened in complete disbelief as he stared at the shattered remains of his ice sword. He knew without a doubt that he had lost. Yet curiosity compelled him to ask Yi how much of a chance he had really stood. "Well, your chance was slightly better than a desperate sycophant's," Yi replied. With a soft sigh, Chuzhou raised his hand, looked toward the referee and announced his surrender. And with that, Yi was officially declared the winner of City's college entrance examination finals. The audience erupted in cheers and viewers across every livestream platform burst into celebration, especially Yi's countless fans. It was almost unbelievable that the dark horse of this year's exams had truly remained the dark horse until the very end. Yi's name and face appeared on every billboard, every news station, and every streaming platform as netizens flooded the internet with praise and adoration for the city's champion. Everyone now understood that the standard of this year's City college entrance exam was far higher than in previous years, and that Yi, who had emerged from such fierce competition, was unquestionably the strongest top scorer in Anqing's entire history. No one would be able to surpass him in the future. Back in the stadium, the crowd chanted Yi's name over and over again. The mayor stepped onto the stage to join him. The host also quickly made his way up, and with barely contained excitement, began to make the official announcement. To all the viewers who have been following the 24th college entrance examination in Anqing City through on-site and the live stream, after 3 days of fierce and bloody battles, the top scorer of Anqing City's college entrance examination has finally emerged. He is Yi, a student from Ant City's #1 middle school. "Student Yi," the host said, "I've heard that your strength was something you built up gradually, catching up from behind and accumulating power over time. Now that you've secured the top spot, do you have anything you'd like to say?" Yi was momentarily stunned. He thought to himself that this host was truly a refined and cultured person. Even the way he described what was basically cheating sounded so tactful and elegant. "First of all, I want to thank my teacher. He was the one who didn't give up on me and kept encouraging me when I was at my lowest. That's what gave me the will to keep fighting." At that very moment, somewhere else, the homeroom teacher watching Yi's speech via live stream began to shed tears, feeling deeply unworthy of the praise Yi had given him. In truth, he felt he had completely failed in his duty for not noticing this monster of a student until just before the college entrance examination. Just as Yi was about to continue speaking, a lean middle-aged man suddenly appeared among the audience, waving his hands energetically to get Yi's attention. But when he realized that Yi had no intention of acknowledging him, he raised both hands and made a 2 gesture. 2 million. The middle-aged man mouthed the words clearly. It was the principal of Ant City's #1 middle school, offering a 2 million scholarship in exchange for Yi promoting their school. And just like that, the money-loving hyena's tone changed completely. "Also, I want to thank my alma mater and my principal. Without his wise leadership, we would not be standing here today." Originally, Yi had no idea what else to say, but the principal's unmistakable cues helped him understand how to wrap up the award speech perfectly. Finally, I want to thank myself. Without my hard work and intelligence, I would never have achieved such glory today. Seriously, this bastard didn't even blush while telling such blatant lies. But unexpectedly, right at that moment, the system chimed in to congratulate him for earning the title of champion. He would be rewarded with a random template ability. His eyes widened in surprise. It turned out the template came with an achievement system as well. He was dying to check out what kind of new ability he had just earned, but considering the ongoing award ceremony and the tens of thousands of eyes currently watching him, there was no way he could examine it in detail just yet. It seemed he would have to wait until later. Meanwhile, in the stadium hallway, a swarm of reporters had already cornered IHI, cameras and microphones closing in from every direction. IHI, was there a lot of pressure winning this year's championship? How did you manage such rapid growth in just 6 months? Will you be applying to Capital Star University? IHI raised his hands in surrender, exasperated. Please stop chasing me. I really need to pee. But one sleazy-looking guy shoved a phone in his face, smirking. IHI, quick question. Between Lu Qingzhu and Kai Shaoling, who's prettier? Or are you more into Xingguang? Or maybe Chuzhou? Nope, I'm out. IHI bolted like a rocket. He had no time for weird fan service interviews. After finally shaking off the media mob, he slipped into the empty basketball court and caught his breath. His eyes lit up with excitement. So the template isn't a one-and-done deal. I can unlock more through the system? This is insane. I love it. Just then, a calm voice spoke behind him. IHI, congratulations on becoming the top scholar. IHI jolted in surprise and spun around, thinking another reporter had tracked him down. The man took off his hat and smiled. Relax. I'm not with the media. I'm from Capital Star. Let's talk about something a bit more confidential, like the gene lock. IHI froze. Gene lock? He hadn't unlocked anything called that. All his powers came from monster templates. Could this guy know his secret? Who was he? From what little memory he had of the original host, that term had only ever come up once, spoken by his supposedly ordinary father. The man pulled a file from his bag and said with a smirk, Tell me, aren't you curious? Your father, just a regular taxi driver. How would someone like him even know about something like a gene lock? IHI raised an eyebrow. Wait, could my old man actually be some kind of hidden expert? The man handed him the file. Due to your unique status, Capital Star has authorized the release of a restricted document. IHI opened it, and his eyes widened as he read. Project Prometheus, once a dominant force in Blue Star's biological gene research. After a classified incident, the institute was blacklisted by multiple nations. Its key researchers went underground, erasing their identities. The gene lock was one of their most ambitious experiments. IHI slowly closed the file, realization hitting hard. So you guys think my regular OL cab driving dad was actually a senior researcher from Prometheus? And me? I'm one of their secret experiments. IHI, please don't worry. The man in the trench coat spoke gently. The government isn't here to threaten you. I'm only here to inform you. After all, as the person directly involved, you have the right to know the truth. It was clear he was worried that IHI might panic and do something reckless. You're now part of a national-level cultivation program. Your safety is our top priority from this point forward. IHI stared at him, completely deadpan. Bro, I'm probably calmer than you right now. Seriously. Then, in the blink of an eye, his expression shifted into smugness. Ugh, fame is such a pain. So much attention. So many questions. Society really does revolve around status, doesn't it? The man blinked in silence, then turned and walked away without another word. The moment he was gone, IHI rubbed his hands together, eyes sparkling. Finally he's gone. This exam run was a total jackpot. Top university offer, $2 million in scholarship money, another $800K in bonuses, and most importantly, a new template draw. Here I come. Without wasting a second, he summoned the system interface and hit the draw button. He knew full well that legendary tier templates like Godzilla were incredibly rare, but he still couldn't help hoping for another miracle. A swirling black vortex appeared on the screen, filled with monstrous growls and echoing roars, like a cursed vault sealed with ancient beasts. IHI stared in awe, mouth slightly open. A moment later, the result appeared. D-class template. D-class template. Colossus-type humanoid bloodline abilities. Maximum size increase, up to 60 meters. High-pressure steam emission. Evolutionary path, proto-giant hybrid. Compatibility, 1%. Ihi's eyes gleamed brighter with each line. So template abilities can stack. If I combine the Colossus-type humanoid with the Berserker Emperor Mothra, wouldn't that make me the true king of monsters? Meanwhile, inside a quiet villa. Brother Hualong, are you saying you're turning down all your missions? That's right. Cancel everything on my schedule. He ended the call. The only sound left in the room was the faint audio coming from a TV broadcast. Hualong took a deep breath. His index finger began tapping rhythmically on the redwood table. Tap, tap, tap. Before long, a dent had formed where his finger kept striking. His younger brother, Hua Peng, had been missing for over half a month. The search team dispatched into the Mystic Zone came back empty-handed. Not even a body. And that was from an S-rank hunter, an experienced veteran of the Forbidden Realms. Hualong didn't need confirmation. He already knew, his brother was dead. What was worse, the scene had been cleaned. No traces left behind. No mistakes made. Still, the rescue team hadn't come back with nothing. At Hua Peng's last known location, they recovered some samples. Testing showed traces of nuclear radiation. Hualong's eyes remained fixed on the TV screen. It was replaying footage from the Anqing Martial Finals. The image froze, Yi unleashing a blinding blue beam of atomic breath. "Little brother," he murmured, "I told you to stay away from the underground, to quit that life. Why didn't you listen? Before Mom passed, she made me promise I'd look after you. Now I can't even find your body." He closed his eyes, heavy with sorrow and guilt. Then the TV announcer's voice rang out, "Final winner, Yi of Anqing First High." Hualong opened his eyes slowly, bloodshot and deathly calm. A rare genius, no doubt. Capital Star University will definitely come calling. But too bad, they won't get the chance to see you enroll. Today, Yi was planning to enter a Mystic Zone to test his new theory, combining the Godzilla template with the Colossus type in actual combat. But just as he was getting ready, he received an unexpected letter from Chuzhou. The message read, "Yi, according to the Capital Research Institute, a new mystic rift is projected to open today at 3 p.m. in Red Tree Mountain, on the outskirts of Anqing. The estimated danger level is C-class. I intend to investigate. Would you like to team up?" Chuzhou. Yi's first reaction wasn't even about the Mystic Zone. No, he was just shocked that Chuzhou still sent handwritten letters. In 2024. Between his swordsman cosplay and his archaic way of speaking, Yi was starting to seriously wonder, is this guy another transmigrator too? By 3 p.m., the once deserted Red Tree Mountain had become crowded. Over 1,000 fighters had gathered, among them elite warriors and members of high-tier organizations. At the base of the mountain, Yi met up with Chuzhou, who now had a sword hanging at his waist. Yi had grown stronger. Yi was surprised by how sharp Chuzhou's senses were. After all, he had spent part of his prize money on several gene serums, which had boosted his compatibility with the Colossus template to 35%. Sure, it was only a D-class monster, but it developed quickly and delivered results just as fast. Definitely worth the investment. While waiting for the rift to open, the two of them chatted casually. "So, Chuzhou, what university are you aiming for?" "Capital Star University." There was something off in Chuzhou's tone when he said it. He noticed but didn't ask. Instead, he simply smiled and replied, "Guess that makes us future classmates." Just then, the crowd around them suddenly erupted. The mystic rift was opening. A piercing screech echoed out from within the rift. The next moment, a monstrous bird with 3 twisted heads and pitch-black feathers forced its way halfway through the portal. This was clearly a high-tier beast. It had muscled its way to the front of the horde and become the first creature to emerge from the rift. But unfortunately for it, what waited on the outside wasn't prey. It was over 1,000 armed warriors, fully geared and ready. Kill? The mountains rang out with the roar of unified battle cries. No one hesitated. The fighters surged toward the monster like a tidal wave, completely indifferent to the fact that it was still stuck halfway in the portal. The 3-headed bird thrashed in panic, each head flailing as it tried to retreat, but it was trapped. Within seconds, its massive body was trampled, crushed under the weight of boots, blades, and deafening war cries. As the saying goes, the early bird gets the beatdown. Yi and Chuzhou, blending into the crowd, slipped through the rift right behind the first wave of warriors. On the other side, they were greeted by a breathtaking sight. A forest of colossal trees, each one towering over 100 meters tall, rising like skyscrapers that pierced the sky. Suddenly, a thick, metallic stench of blood rushed into Yi's nostrils. He looked ahead. The entrance to the rift had already become a battlefield. A small-scale beast tide was crashing into the newly arrived warriors. Screams, roars, and the clash of steel collided in the air, forming a brutal, chaotic symphony of war. He quickly realized these warriors weren't just here to loot the Mystic Zone, they were holding the front line for a reason. According to the Blue Star Defense Act, all licensed martial artists have both the freedom to explore Mystic Zones and the duty to protect the real world from any beast tide. Anyone who ignores that duty and allows a tide to break through into the outside world, resulting in civilian casualties, will have their warrior status revoked and be tried in military court. For a warrior, the greater the power, the heavier the responsibility. He and Chu Zhou joined the front line, pushing back against the incoming wave of beasts. Chu Zhou activated his bloodline, unleashing waves of icy energy that froze the beast's legs in place, locking down the path ahead. Suddenly, a beast lunged at him from behind. In a split second, he launched his atomic detonation fist, blowing the ambushing beast into a cloud of mist and melted flesh. "Watch your back," he said, completely unfazed. Then, almost lazily, he added, "These Mystic Zone beasts? Not a single one of them can put up a decent fight." Behind him lay a scorched battlefield littered with smoldering corpses. Chu Zhou was stunned. He had been carefully holding the line, struggling to contain the tide, while he had already wiped out an entire section of monsters by himself. The creatures he killed weren't just burned, they had been dissolved as if every cell in their bodies had been disintegrated from the inside out. That was the horror of atomic radiation. Silent, invisible, and utterly destructive. And now, for the first time on an open battlefield, he, the walking nuclear disaster, was finally free to unleash his power without restraint. Roars and screeches echoed across the terrain as beasts charged him, only to melt into puddles of gore just meters away, cooked alive by the sheer heat radiating from his body. Elsewhere on the battlefield, warriors locked in desperate melee glanced over their shoulders, only to see the fighters behind them already relaxing and wiping the sweat from their brows. "Wait, that's the top scorer from Anqing's entrance exams." "The what? Wasn't he just a trainee? How's a kid soloing entire monster waves?" "You didn't watch this year's entrance exam broadcast?" "Nah, who wants to watch high schoolers fight?" "Idiot. That high schooler could mop the floor with 10 of you." As the battle dragged on, exhaustion became visible on the warriors' faces. Then someone shouted, "Drive the beast toward the top scorer." And just like that, the battlefield evolved. Everyone instinctively shifted formation, using Ihi's nuclear radiation field as a natural death zone against the monster tide. No one knew how much time had passed. Then, a signal flare exploded in the sky. Eyes dulled by fatigue suddenly lit up. Decapitation confirmed. The alpha beast is down. We did it. The tide is breaking. Monsters are retreating. Don't let up, finish them off. Chu Zhou finally exhaled, relief flooding through him. The first wave of Red Tree Mountain's beast tide was over. Of the 1,000+ warriors who had entered, only around 800 remained. He strolled over casually, dragging several massive sacks behind him. His relaxed attitude stood out starkly among the blood-soaked and battered survivors. Phew. Hey Chu Zhou, real talk, I'm running out of hands here. How am I supposed to carry all this loot? With a thud, he dropped several bulging sacks of monster cores in front of him. Chu Zhou silently handed over a silver-black ring. My spatial ring. Use it. Whoa, nice. A space ring? Those go for tens of millions on the market. Grinning, he eagerly began stuffing the bags inside. I knew you were secretly loaded. Wu Sen's back, thank the heavens. If he hadn't taken out that elite beast, we'd all be corpses right now. The crowd instinctively parted as a tall, broad-shouldered man walked forward, righteous energy rolling off him like a pressure wave. He quickly realized the man was heading straight toward him. Hello there, Anqing's top scholar, the man greeted, his voice warm and his smile genuine. Name's Wu Sen, regional commander of the Silver Wolf Mercenary Corps. I've heard all about what you did out there today. Outstanding work. He didn't hesitate. Now, tell me, would you be interested in joining our corps? It won't interfere with your university plans. In fact, you'll get tons of benefits, access to gear and full support. For someone like you, I'm prepared to offer an S-rank member contract on the spot. Gasps rippled through the surrounding warriors. The Silver Wolf Corps, a nationally renowned mercenary group, and their regional commander was personally recruiting Ihi. This was a once-in-a-lifetime offer. The path of the warrior was expensive. Without the backing of a powerful faction, most couldn't make it far. And yet, Even elite students at Capital Star University rarely received S-rank offers this early. Just then, a dazzling striped tiger emerged from the crowd, its powerful form cutting through the warriors. On its back sat a striking woman exuding authority and a commanding aura. "So that's why you rushed ahead, Wu Xin?" she teased, voice light but sharp. "Trying to steal the prize before the rest of us showed up?" She turned her attention to Yi. "Yi, how about joining the Chengdak Corps instead? We may be smaller than Silver Wolf, but if you join us, I'll personally guarantee you receive 15% of our monthly cultivation resources, no strings attached." Another collective gasp followed. That kind of offer was almost unheard of, basically granting a high schooler a cut of a guild's elite-tier resources, just to recruit him. This was more than just rare, it was shocking. He, however, simply smiled and shook his head. "Thanks. But for now, I'm not planning to join any corps." The woman chuckled, unfazed. "Just as I thought. Landing the top scorer was never going to be easy. No worries, consider this our introduction. If you ever need anything, the Silver Wolf Corps is just a call away," she said. "The Chengdak Corps too," she added with a wink. "We'll be ready." With the beast tide finally over, the warriors moved into the free exploration phase. Chuzhou offered a suggestion. "This forest is massive, and the terrain's a maze. Let's climb up to the canopy and scout the area first before we head deeper." He nodded. That had been his plan too. Activating his nuclear radiance mode, atomic energy gathered beneath his feet, and he rocketed upward like a human missile, launching straight into the sky toward the treetops. Soon, the two of them stood atop a colossal tree hundreds of meters tall, gazing out over the entire mystic zone. "Wait, what is that?" He suddenly narrowed his eyes, stunned. Far off, near the base of a distant mountain range, a group of massive humanoid figures was slowly moving across the land. Even from hundreds of kilometers away, their silhouettes were unmistakable. Those things had to be, what, a full kilometer tall? He murmured. That was beyond insane. Chuzhou was just about to respond, but he spoke first, his voice steady and burning with determination. Unimaginable? No, we're still young. Give it a few more years and we might be the ones hunting them down, maybe even uncovering the truth behind this whole mystic zone phenomenon. Chuzhou turned to look at him, slightly awestruck. Faced with such overwhelming and unknown forces, his first instinct was fear. But Yi's instinct was to defy death, to conquer the impossible. In that moment Chuzhou understood. He wasn't just stronger in terms of raw power. He had the spirit of a true warrior. Meanwhile, Yi himself was practically buzzing with excitement. Just you wait, you walking mountains, he thought. One day all your monster cores will belong to me. Suddenly his life field sensor activated, sweeping the entire mystic zone and mapping the presence of all living entities within range. One point immediately stood out. To the southeast in the region of a massive lake. Nothing. A complete blank. No life signs at all. It was as if that part of the map had been erased. A dead zone. A void. Now that's suspicious, Yi muttered, eyes gleaming. The stranger the water, the bigger the fish. That's where the real loot is. Without hesitation he turned to Chuzhou. Let's go. Time to gamble big at the lake. Yi and Chuzhou moved swiftly through the giant forest and soon arrived at the edge of the mysterious lake. To their surprise, 3 people were already there, one of whom he instantly recognized. Rainy, Yi called out, pleasantly surprised. Well, if it isn't Anxing's little champion, Huang Yuli replied with a teasing smile. Wait, you know our local top scorer? One of her teammates chimed in, grinning. Come on, introduce us already. We heard he was tearing through beast tides like a walking warhead. How long have you guys been here? He asked. Not long, Rainy replied. We just arrived. 2 of our teammates, both good swimmers, went underwater to scout things out. Right as she finished speaking, a figure burst from the surface of the water. It was one of Rainy's teammates. Jackpot. Guys, we just hit the motherlode. Yang shouted, clearly thrilled. Whoa, slow down, Yi said. What kind of jackpot? There's a ruin down there. A real one. We're going to make it big. He nudged Chuzhou with his elbow. Why is everyone so hyped over ruins? Chuzhou asked. Then he explained. In mystic zones, there are these ancient structures believed to be remnants of a long-lost civilization. People refer to them as ruins. It's said that much of modern martial arts theory, and even parts of gene tech, were reverse-engineered from discoveries made inside these places. Just then Yang finally noticed the 2 unfamiliar faces standing nearby. Wait a second. Were you 2? Were you eavesdropping on us? The tension immediately spiked. until Huang Yuli stepped in to defuse it. Yang calmed down. These two are Yi He and Chu Zhou, the top scorer and runner-up for Manqing's martial entrance exams. Their strength is well above average. We should let them join us. Yi He casually clapped a hand on Chu Zhou's shoulder. Relax, man. We're not here to steal your loot. We're here to help you get it. Yang narrowed his eyes, unconvinced. Fine. Then how do we split the gains? We're not part of your team, Yi He said smoothly. So we'll take a cut based on what we contribute. What we earn, we keep. Yang looked clearly annoyed but wasn't foolish enough to start trouble with two rising stars. He scoffed. All right, you're in. But don't try anything shady. Got it? With that settled, Yang dove into the lake, leading the way. The others followed one by one. Thanks to their enhanced physical abilities and lung capacity, all 6 warriors were able to dive roughly 30 meters deep. There Yang found the marker he had placed earlier and led the group into a submerged tunnel carved through rock. That passage leads to the ruin, he said. Once they surfaced inside the cave, Yang immediately looked around. Huh. Where's Li Wei? I told him to stand guard right here. Maybe he found something and decided to keep it for himself, one of the teammates muttered, clearly irritated. Yang pulled out his radio and tried to contact Li Wei several times, but received no response. When you first got here, did either of you check for monster activity? Huang Yuli asked calmly. Nope. Li Wei and I even deployed beast lure charges. Nothing showed up. Not even a single hair. Li Wei's missing, one teammate said hesitantly. Are we really sure we should keep going? A short silence followed, then Yang gritted his teeth and barked. We have to explore it. Riches and glory are right in front of you. If you're too scared to reach for them, you'll stay stuck at the bottom forever. Anyone afraid of dying can leave now. But if you want to get rich, follow me. No one moved. Even the teammate who had just spoken up stayed quiet. Because Yang was right. If there really was a ruin ahead, no one wanted to stand by while someone else claimed the treasure. All right then, he said. Let's move. With a heavy silence hanging over the group, Yang led them deeper in. Everyone stayed alert. Every step deeper into the unknown added to the tension. Yi He flicked on a UV flashlight, illuminating the path ahead. On the ground, glowing faintly, were the symbols he and Li Wei had marked earlier. The team pushed forward. The tunnel gradually narrowed until only one person could move through at a time. Yi He, walking in the cramped space, narrowed his eyes slightly and glanced back at Chu Zhou. Their eyes met, and they mouthed silent words to each other. Something's off. Chu Zhou's lips moved soundlessly. Yeah, the timing doesn't add up. Rainey said they only arrived at the lake 10 minutes ago. Yet somehow these two found the cave, swam through the lake, located a hidden tunnel, and navigated all the way to the ruin's entrance. That's not scouting, he whispered under his breath. That's wallhack level intel. Pretty obvious we're being played, Chu Zhou said. Want to warn your friend and bail? But he only smirked, his eyes gleaming with confidence. Relax. I've got a trump card. Soon the group emerged into a massive underground cavern, easily the size of a football field. Every inch of the floor, walls, and ceiling was covered in dark green vines. But what made their blood run cold were the things trapped within those vines, dim, lifeless monster cores and piles of ash where living creatures had been reduced to dust. No wonder the lake had been so eerily quiet. Something here had already devoured every other predator. Huang Yuli's expression darkened instantly. Her voice turned cold. Yang, where's the ruin you promised? A piercing scream cut through the air. One of her teammates was pointing in horror toward the far side of the cavern. Suspended in midair, wrapped in thick vines and pierced straight through the chest, was a mummified corpse. Judging by the clothes, it was Li Wei. Huang Yuli and another woman stumbled back, faces pale and horrified. Yang, meanwhile, collapsed to his knees, clutching his head and muttering hysterically. The ruin, it was supposed to be here. Li Wei's dead. How did he die? The vines. The vines. Suddenly, clarity flickered in his eyes. His voice broke into a desperate shout. I think the vines got to me too. Splat. His head exploded like a firecracker, spraying blood and shattered bone everywhere. From the ruined remains, several vines slithered out, twisting through the air like demonic tentacles. Yang. Huang Yuli screamed, her voice cracking with disbelief and horror. In that instant he acted. He unleashed a devastating atomic breath right at the threat. Boom. A blinding beam of blue energy tore through the air, vaporizing the upper half of Yang's body along with the writhing vines that had infected him. Yi's eyes were cold, his tone even colder. I didn't expect a monster with this level of intelligence. It killed 2 fighters, took control of one's body, and used him as bait to lure in more victims. That's not hunting. That's a calculated ambush. Which meant, they were already deep inside the creature's feeding ground. Crush. Behind them, massive stones and thick vines suddenly collapsed, sealing the only exit completely. Chuzhou's eyes locked on the moving vines. I've read about this species. It's a Tier 2 Royal Class monster. A ghost vine demon. Huang Yuli's breath hitched. Royal Class? Those aren't even measured by normal tiers. We're all Tier 1 at best. We can't handle that kind of power. He just cracked a wide grin, flashing his white teeth. Don't care what tier it is. Watch me blow it to pieces. Just as he was about to activate his Titan form. Boom. The collapsed tunnel behind them erupted open from the other side. A figure emerged, cloaked in black, his entire body shrouded in raging blood energy that distorted the air around him. A trail of crimson smoke billowed behind him like a battlefield banner. I've come to kill you. Someone in the group gasped. That's Blood Chi Smoke. He's a stage 8 martial artist.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps. And for more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see another part. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time. Bye-bye.